Please stand. It's right here.
Start now.
Maybe seated.
Good morning or afternoon. I think this pulpit was made for Mom. It's, but bless her heart. Thank you all for coming today. It's to share this time and memories of Mom with us. This is one good thing about funerals, that you get together and see people you haven't seen, family, friends, and there's a lot of faces I see out there that I recognize, and there's a lot that I sort of know, and some I'm not sure of, so make sure you say hi before we leave so I can make sure I know who all of you are. It's been fun looking at all the memories of Mom's life, and I hope you enjoyed that, seeing all the things. She had a wonderful life while she was here, and did a lot of things. It was wonderful to bring back those memories. She would have been happy to have been here today to talk to you all and share some of her talks and stories with you. We get to officially retire the Matt Haws 5 email address. I made MAD stand for Mom and Dad. I put that together for him years ago, and we can officially put that to rest now because it will not be used anymore. Let's see, have we got this thing working over here? Uh-oh, let me get this up here. Excuse me while we go through this. Let's see, no. HTML2 is supposed to be HTML1. Sorry about this, but we had it all ready to go. There we go. That right? Okay, there she is. There's Mom. Everybody has one mom, and this is mine. I'd like to take a few moments to share some memories and moments that I treasure that I had with my mother. Mom talked about Garland, where she was born her whole life. She told us about her family raising chickens and peonies over there. As many of you know, we lived overseas for many years, and that's the legacy of the Haws family. I'm sure she shared some of those memories with you, sometimes maybe more than once. But we did get back to Garland many times, and it was fun to go back there. When we were in job transitions between different places we were moving. And she told us how it was when she was young and how things have changed over there. And I raised my family in San Diego with all the niceties and stuff. And I think of my mother taking 5 kids overseas in foreign countries and trying to raise her kids, you know, in a country like that. It's a lot challenging, and there are a lot of adventures there. And I always respect my mom for taking the time and raising us as she did in those countries. You know, shopping and things that you take for granted. Doctors, they weren't as readily available back then. And this is back in the 60s. But and this is oh, they got a small picture of it. That's like our passport pictures when we were first going overseas. We started off with the three of us, LaDon, me, and Kirk. I did a lot of crazy things when I was growing up, and it was a nice thing. My mother never did get too upset, and I never really got really seriously disciplined from my mother for some of the things, and I deserved it sometimes, for sure. Connie and I just recently, we've been living in San Diego for the last 25 years, 30 years, I guess, 35 years. And we used to come up here on a regular basis to visit everybody. And we couldn't get Dusty and Kelly to move back to San Diego, so we decided to move up here. So we're actually Utahns now. We live here. And it actually worked out kind of good because we moved here in May. And so we got to spend the last 6 months with Mom having Sunday dinners and getting together on a regular basis. And that was really something that I will remember for a long time, for the rest of my life. I have to. I was going to tell you a little story how I found out my mother passed. In December, I actually had a dream that my mother passed away, and it was very real. And we were going on this 2.5 month cruise, and I actually went to Julie and said, "Julie, you know, I just had a dream that Mom died. Maybe I shouldn't go." And she said, "Brent, it's just a dream. You can go have fun." And so we did, and we went, and it got to be we were just down coming out of and we got to go to lots of places. We went back to Recife where, you know, Mom and I lived, and the music you saw, that was some Brazilian music, kind of remembering when we lived there. But I got to go see the school I went to. Our house doesn't exist anymore, but it was a really fun experience. But we actually caught COVID on the cruise, and so we were locked up in a cage for a week. It was terrible for me, but the day we got out, it was wonderful. I was so excited. I said, "Oh man, we're out of that. We're out, you know, get to continue with this wonderful adventure." And I get a text from Julie that Mom passed away that day. And it was like, it went from one good thing to a sad thing. And that day we were so excited to get off the ship that we went down and had an excursion to go. So we were down waiting for the tender to come to take us off, and a butterfly came in the ship. You know, we're in the Amazon. It was just kind of fluttering around. You know, Dad, we grew butterflies, collected butterflies as a kid all the time. And it was just floating around in this while we were waiting, just going around. And it was like, wow, look at that. And I was actually trying to get it to stop on my hand, and it didn't. And all of a sudden, Connie says, "Brent, it's on your hat." And it's crooked, sorry about that. But the butterfly sat there on my hat, and we sat there. We got on the tinder, and it was still there. And as we got right to the shore, the dock to get off, the butterfly flew out the window. And people around there all knew that my mother had passed away. And we said, "That must have been Mom coming by to say hi." There she is saying hi. If you remember that. And I hope you guys probably didn't know that Mom was actually going to be running for president soon. You know, she's got that wave down. But let's see, where am I now? So anyway, that was fun. So Mom told me when I was young, when I was about 3 or 4 years old, she says, I came to her one day and I said, "Mom, I want to wear a dress." And she obliged me, and I got to wear a dress for a day. And they called me Brenda that day, LaDon said. And was that one of your dresses? I never even saw anyone wear it. But so I got slippers and everything, but it only lasted one day. And my mom was rather short, as you know, as you can see this speaker they put for you here, microphone. But she always talked to me about being tall and how she would like to be tall because she was short. And so one day we were in the garage. Oh, I'm in the wrong story, sorry. Well, we're in the garage. There's a picture coming up in a minute. The picture, she's standing on the stairs and we're the same height and she has her arm around me. So we'll get to that picture in a minute. I just got them backwards here. But we lived in, I went to Utah State and I came home from Christmas one year. And I was so excited to go see all my friends and stuff. I kind of ignored my mother. And so I went off with my friends and out, and I was partying, having fun, and I didn't get home till about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I wasn't in the best shape, and I kind of stuck in the house. All the lights were off, and I said, I'm going to sneak in. No one's going to know I'm here. So I'm sneaking in the house, and I'm going in, open the door, get in, take my clothes off, and I get all ready, and I get over to the bed. I go to the bathroom, get in bed, and I put my foot in bed. I start to get in. My mom's in my bed. I go, all right, Mom, I'm home. So it gets better. My mom used to love to get me shrimp. And so she'd buy me shrimp. And so the next morning at 6 o'clock, my mom comes in and wakes me up, Brent, I got your shrimp, And I go, Mom, it's 6 o'clock or, 7 o'clock. And she goes, so she brought me out and had the shrimp in it. I got to eat my shrimp at early in the morning. And you see, I was in great shape after that night. But I did have a six-pack back then, And I think this might be the picture of her on the stairs. There we go. I just had them backwards. So she was as tall as me for a day. My mom was pretty adventuresome. And she came over. I was giving the grandkids ride on a motorcycle and going around. And after that, we were talking, and Mom kind of wandered over to the motorcycle and stand there. She says, Brent, I want to go for a ride. And we said, no way. And we ended up getting her on the motorcycle, and we got to take her for a motorcycle ride, which was really fun. She held on so tight. I mean, I could hardly breathe, but it was great to take. We actually did two of them. That was one, and we did one this summer, which was really, really great. There's more, but I'm going to end with that. And I'll leave the rest of them to your imagination, or the ones that you can remember. I do want to thank Sean and Julie because, Mom was very lucky that they were here helping her. The things they did for her over the years was incredible. And I will call you guys once in a while, just out of the random moment, say, I need something done, so you won't miss that. And day or night, or feel free to take care of me anytime you want. I'll welcome you over there. And if I want to go out shopping, I'll be sure and call you so you can help me along there. But it was wonderful, and I thank you guys tremendously for what you did for Mom over the past years. I know it was a lot of work. And if you go out of town, I'll be able to take care of myself, I think. You don't have to worry about me. And the last thing, be sure and save those hearing aids for me, because I'll probably need them in a few years, if you would, please. And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. We'll see you soon, Mom. Actually, you know what? I did my talk, and it was supposed to be everybody else first. I was supposed to be the last speaker. So, sure, my mind's with it. So anyway, let's get back to the program now. And we'll get back to the program, and we'll go as, I won't even announce it. Let's just go in the order of the program here. And sorry about that. You can see I was just, I was afraid I was going to cry really bad today, so I want to get this over with. So I apologize. Can we start with, and I want to thank all the people who have participated, the music and all that stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. And I'll let you do your part now, and I'll sit down.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for the opportunity to gather as family and friends to celebrate the life of Grandma Colleen. We're thankful for the influence that she had in our lives, and please help us to reflect on them often, on our memories and of the time that we had with her. And we're grateful for the knowledge to know that this isn't the end and that we'll be able to hear Grandma's stories again and hear of her new ones. Please bless that as we travel today, that we'll do so in safety and that we can enjoy the company of each other. And in this time, we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
I had to have my husband up here with me, so we're going to do this together. Mom grew up in Garland, which is a pretty small town. And when I would be out on an outing with her, she'd always, no matter where we were, she'd always bring up something about, well, we lived overseas or abroad, and people were interested, and I was always rolling my eyes because I was going to hear the same stories over and over again. But then she would add, and this is my daughter. She was only 6 weeks old and I took her to Afghanistan. You know, what do you say? But anyway, that was kind of our little routine when we would go out. My father was working overseas at the time, and Mom came back, and I was born in Tremont, and I never lived in Tremont, but I know I have a lot of relatives over there. It was a pretty courageous decision for them to travel and to live in a foreign country. She had a lot of faith to leave her family and the comforts which she had grown up with. When we would move, Dad would usually go ahead of the family and find our housing, investigate our schools, and get everything ready for our arrival. Remember, this was during the time when there was no internet, there was no emails. So I don't know how Mom and Dad corresponded with each other, but it was always a big surprise when we got to our new place. You know, we had a nice home, we had just about everything we needed. I don't think Mom really complained about anything. She usually made do with her circumstances, and we seemed to always have everything we needed. Mom stayed at home with the kids, and my dad would leave on work assignments that would leave Mom home all alone to care for us for weeks and sometimes longer than that at a time. I had a really fun childhood, and I can remember taking Indian dancing lessons in Bangalore. I got to dance on television in Brazil, doing ballet, and I played sports in high school in the Philippines. So that's, I think, pretty unique and a really fun childhood. While we were in the Philippines, I met my husband, Sean. My parents did not like Sean at first. He was 4 years older than me, and he was one of the rowdy kids. But he was closer to my brother's age, and so they hung out, and they would be at, Sean was always at our house. And, but Sean has since been a very good son-in-law, and both my mom and dad kind of liked him a little bit. So. Mom was great, a help to me when I had my kids. She always flew to wherever we were. My oldest, Andrew, was born in Long Beach, and Mom came and stayed with us for a whole month. And Andrew had times in the hospital, and she was just always there and helped me a lot. And then she came to Oregon when my other two children were born, and just kind of let me sleep through the night, and I could then watch the kids during the day. So she was always very attentive and helped me with my kids when they were born. Sean finally got tired of working 60 and 70 hours a week and decided he needed to go back to school. And we came back to River Heights, and Sean got his master's at Utah State, and we lived in mom and dad's basement. And I had my 3 kids. Andrew was only 10 at the time. So they took a risk in having 3 young kids and us living back at home with them. And I feel really lucky about this because I think they had the opportunity to get to know their grandparents, something that I did not get to spend much time with my grandparents. Our family went on some fun vacations with our parents, or maybe we took them on vacation. We went houseboating to Lake Mead, and we went on an Alaskan cruise, and we even went camping up at Yellowstone. As mom got older, she didn't like to travel as much, and she was quite happy to stay at home with her yard work and doing her genealogy. When dad was diagnosed with Parkinson's, both mom and dad helped organize the Parkinson's support group here in Logan. And mom was the primary caregiver of dad until his passing. Let's see, mom loved to use the computer, and she had her own Facebook account. It was difficult for her to use the computer the last few years, but she always wanted to know what everyone was doing and where everybody was. Mom was good at remembering everybody's birthday, and she would send a card with a check for $25 in it. That amount never changed. It was always $25. Last year, she couldn't really do that anymore, so I took her down and helped her buy some cards, and she signed the check, and she still continued to send out birthday cards to everyone. Oh, Sean, tell about his birthday card 1 year.
Well, I guess I get the special birthday card, but mom gave it to me, and I opened it up, and there was nothing written on it. And I'm like, Mom, you didn't sign it. You didn't put my name on it. She goes, you can use it for next year.
Let's see. Mom loved sweets and always wanted to eat dark chocolate because that was the chocolate that was good for you. So she never thought it was bad to eat chocolate if you ate dark chocolate. Mom had good intentions and read all about the best ways to eat healthy and tried many diets, but she's lived to be 91, so she did something right. Mom loved to attend the temple, and until COVID hit, I would take mom and she would spend time doing temple work. She enjoyed going to the many new temple open houses, and I remember when the Idaho Falls Temple reopened after renovation, we took her there. Mom and dad were married in the Idaho Falls Temple in 1950. And as we were going through the tour, she let everybody know that she and dad were sealed in the Idaho Falls Temple. Lastly, the things that make me smile when I think of my mom are her bright red lipstick, her dark sunglasses, her driving and barely seeing over the dashboard, her answering the phone, and I'd ask, "How was your day, Mom?" And she'd answer, "Just having a lazy day." Things in her kitchen cupboards that were many years past expiration. And when you'd walk into her house, the TV or the radio was so loud that you'd wonder, is anybody here? And she'd always eat walking around the house, and she'd leave a banana peel just about anywhere, and it'd just sit there. No, she'd never put it away. It was just dry up and left that banana peel everywhere. We don't come into this world with a manual on how to be a mother. Mom was a beautiful lady with a lovely smile, a kind heart, and made our home a happy place. She was a good example to me on how keeping a family history is important, and I hope that I'm able to do as good as she did.
So Julie asked me to say a few words and asked if I'd behave in doing so. So we'll kind of see how this goes. Don't worry, she's edited most of what my comments are. Julie and I have been in Logan for quite a while, as she said, and we're grateful that we could enjoy our time with mom and dad. Our kids, as she said, had a wonderful opportunity that we did not have in growing up with their grandma and grandpa. Mom put up with a lot of teasing from me. I think she grew to expect it, maybe even like it. She gave some back every once in a while. But I thought I'd just tell a couple of stories. This is the part that makes Julie a little bit nervous. You know, I was mom's fix-it man. I was mom's driver. I was all those things that she needed at that time. And one time, this was when she was actually quite a bit younger. I was taking mom to the Salt Lake Airport. I don't know why I'm reading these. I wrote them. I know them. But I was taking her to the Salt Lake Airport because they were returning to the Philippines, and we had to leave quite a bit earlier. I had a 1968 VW bus, and we were only going to hit 35 going up over Sardine. So we left early and got mom down there with just about as much luggage as that little van could handle. Got her down to the airport, got up to the gate, or got up to the desk, and mom looked back at me and she goes, "I've still got 150 pounds left of excess baggage." And I looked at her and went, "What's that mean?" Well, we went back into Salt Lake, a few trunks later and a bunch of shopping. We came back and made that weight. By golly, we got enough food put in those things that she was going to take it back to the Philippines. And I always wondered, I always asked Julie, I go, you know, they have food in the Philippines. I don't know, but they wanted certain things. So we got her down there and got her off on that one. When mom would give me a call, she'd usually called me at work. Yeah, and she'd go, "Are you busy?" And I said, "Nope, just waiting for you to call. What's up?" And she always took that positively, and she'd proceed to tell me what she needed, and she'd always end with, "But there's no rush," which means better stop by on your way home or I'm going to be calling you again. So I'd stop by and fix whatever it was she needed. When mom could still use the computer, she loved to get emails, and she loved to do Facebook, and she loved to touch every button you shouldn't touch. And so she'd call me, and you know, we'd get it fixed. And one time she called me at work again, you know, kind of know how that call started. And she called me and she said, "Yeah, it's kind of been messing up. I wanted to get updated in that." So I pushed the button to update it. "But don't worry, the people that called me, they're helping me out." I'm like, "What?" You know, thank goodness we had a lot of talks with mom about stranger danger on the computers and about how not to touch anything and don't give them anything. Don't even tell them your name, but she loved to talk to people. So she was going to talk to them anyway. Mom loved to tell us about her, how she got the vacuum cleaner salesman in the house to clean all her rugs and didn't buy a vacuum. She just loved to tell that story. But, you know, as seen on TV was a whole different story. Mom had every gadget and every kind of thing from Flobies on to whatever else she had in her closet with mops and brooms and cleaning things. My favorite thing was, if you've ever seen them, you're supposed to be able to aerate your lawn. They're these things that you attach to the bottom of your feet. And it looks like they got nails in them about 3 inches long. Yeah, well, she bought those for Dad. And I'm telling you, Dad spent a lot of that summer out in the yard nailed to the lawn. But that was just Mom. She liked to buy all those things and she thought they were all going to work just perfect. Well, that's probably enough of my stories, but Mom is probably not the one you thought would be speaking at your funeral. When I asked to marry your daughter, you may have wanted to speak at mine. Well, here's to a testament of forgiveness that you let grow with time. And this is from one grateful soul. That the answer was marry her, fine. Mom liked to talk and write things in genealogy. And one of the books that she wrote was titled Change of Address, Please Forward. I thought this would be a fitting way to end my talk. Sorry, I've got to be able to see. It says, change of address seems to be a fitting theme for why we're all gathered today. To send Mom to her final resting place, one more address along the way. But before she goes, we take a selfish moment with a few things to say, to remember her life full of adventure, growth, and happiness, we pray. Soon we take her to her last address for us to visit, remember her along our way. Back to Garland, where her life on earth began, next to Dale she'll lay. This time we lift no couches, no trucks to load, no dollies, no boxes on display. No, this time we just take Mom with all the memories of her stay. From the memories, stories will be told, and those who listen will be amazed about each and every address she visited and the family that she raised. So when he calls us home and we see the light that we move toward, remember it's just a change of address. Please forward. Say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. And since we're all kind of in sequence here in that, which we're not either, we'll go ahead and have our number by Sherry Carling, who will be doing a musical number, and then Sandy, if you'd come up and give Mom's life sketch. And after which we'll have Brent finish his closing remarks. He didn't know he's going to have to do that, but he's going to have to now. And then we'll have a congressional and we'll go to that point. I'm sorry, congregational. That's why she's here.
This is a pretty casual group. And even though you don't know me, I just wanted to say to Sean, I think you've been forgiven because I walked by and on your car, there was a banana peel on the menu.
You, Mom. These are for you. My name's Sandy. I'm the youngest. And just as it was when I gave my my little talk for my dad, I was the favorite. They saved the best for last, all of that. Many think that being the youngest I was the most spoiled, but that is definitely not the fact. I feel like my siblings just wore my mom and dad down to the point where they just couldn't be anything but, surrender to the children. So I think the best example is I called my mom. I was in a police station in Cairo, Egypt. And I said, Mom, I'm here at the police station. They want to keep us overnight. And the first thing and only thing she said was, well, are you coming home tonight? And I'm like, a police station. I'm hoping so. But I think of March 3rd as being one of my mom's happiest days in her life. Because after 68 years, she is holding her baby. Carol was born prematurely. And I don't think she really got to hold her, go through any type of really grieving. And we as her kids sort of she didn't bring it up a lot, and we just sort of like skated over it. It was the day after my mom's birthday, so it hit so close for so many times. And I just hope that Mom is finally able to celebrate all the things that she wanted to celebrate with her baby Carol. And she just always had a love for babies. And so for her to miss out on being able to hold on to Carol was something that I know that she was holding out for every single day. I have always thought my mom was the perfect mom for me in that she made me deal with all the consequences, and you roll with the punches with my mom. And she always wanted to do her best to let you get included in whatever crazy thing is going on. And I think the most crazy thing that my mom really tried, but she was a little stingy, a little thrifty, a little cheap. We were in Brazil, and there's some sort of holiday where they fill up these bamboo poles. I mean, they're like big and they're filled with water, and you walk around and you get drenched, and you're having this big water fight. And so Julie and I wanted to have part of this water fight, right? So Mom gets out these 10cc syringes and we get them lit and filled, and we're ready, and we squirt, and it goes, and then we get, but we got to play in that party with her. So grateful for that. Another thing my mom always complained about was Meniere's and vertigo. And it got to the point where I think Julie asked one time, Mom, are you really feeling that bad? No, I just, it's vertigo. I just really don't want to go. So that's the motto. My mom really did whatever she wanted. It didn't matter. She was a pretty incredible woman. She did like to write. She saved me a lot of times writing my papers in school. This book, I honestly just read this last couple weeks. She wrote this and she was so proud of it, but there are some great stories in here. These are fun too, the change of address. I added on the bottom here that now the change of address is now in heaven. But I'm gonna just share with this last part of this book here. And it says, Grandma Colleen speaking. What do we hope for the future? What do we hope the future brings for our children and their families? I recently watched the movie Gandhi, and he made a statement that I think was very important. He said, happiness does not come from things, even 20th century things. It can come from work and pride in what you do. I know we all want many of the nice things in life. I do too. And it would be hard to live in poverty and not have the nice house and enough to eat. But believe me, there are more people in the world that live in terrible conditions without enough food and a place to sleep than the ones who do. I would pray that you may always have the things you need to make you comfortable and enough of the things that Gandhi was talking about, 20th century things, to make your life enjoyable. But like he said, what you do with your life is the important thing. Great happiness can come from work and accomplishments you make if you have pride in what you do. We love you very much. I got postcards from around the world, and so this is the last Colleen Haws challenge. Grab a card, take a trip, enjoy the ride, and until we meet again, Mom, I love you. So Tanner's gonna come up with the start to sharing other stories that we may not have heard of the great Colleen. I know that there's one I'll help. Mom always was afraid to swim with us until we moved to the Philippines. And then she got involved in water aerobics. And so she was always in the pool doing water aerobics. And then one day she was always worried that she was going to sink to the bottom. And then one day she got out a little bit deeper than she thought, and she found out that she could float above the water, her head above the water. Our center of buoyancy is up high. She just was like, everybody who would walk by, look, I'm standing, I'm not moving a muscle, and I could float. And she was so proud of that. Good deal, Mom. Love you.
All right. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I used to joke with Grandma that I was her favorite grandkid, so that's a family thing, I guess. I was going to get a haircut before I came to this event, and it was funny. I've been rocking the mustache for last couple months, getting tons of compliments on it. But I figured it was appropriate to ditch that look for this event because Grandma made it a point every time I'd see her with it to tell me how terrible, absolutely terrible it looked on me. So I went with the beard just out of respect for her. Yeah, I remember Grandma as a lover of music, a lover of flowers, as we can see, both real and alive. One of my earliest memories of Grandma is she had planted artificial flowers in that front box by her house, and people would compliment her on how good they looked, and she would just always say that it's a lot better when you don't have to, they don't have to die in the winter. But and as an homage to my mom, she was always wearing sunglasses inside. That's like a core memory of Grandma. And she was one of the few older people, I think, that got more pleasant with age. I think everyone can agree she just became so happy and was just always down for the latest adventure. She inspired my passion for international travel, funded it to get it going. So I'm forever grateful for that. I'll even miss hearing her approach every Indian and Mexican man in Cache Valley and telling her that she lived in India once upon a time. I'll miss the wig phase she went through. As Julie mentioned, her expired pantry as a young kid, that was always fun. The $25 checks, sledding on Grandma's hill by her house, the Hall of Photos, and even more recently, she would always walk to the window at Williamsburg and wave until we pulled around the corner, which was always so sweet. Yeah, Grandma, if you're watching, I hope, I have finished college, so please, I hope you're proud of me. Till we meet again, love you.
So I'm LaDawn, I'm one of the other daughters, and I was originally going to be on the program. I was going to sing a song with my college roommate, and then it turned out that she had to go to another funeral. And so we just took me off the program, which was fine. And I really appreciate the piano music. She would have loved that. So I wanted to just give a memory of mine with my mom. We had some conflicts when I was growing up. She really wanted me to be a girly girl, you know, and I hated dresses. I would always wear shorts underneath them. And but she wanted, and so she made me sleep with rollers in my hair because she wanted my hair to be pretty and curly. And I remember one morning I just came in, I said, I'm not sleeping with rollers anymore. If God wanted me to have curly hair, I would have had curly hair, and I'm not doing this anymore. So that was one of our conflicts. But the one of the memories that I have, and I this was really important for me, is Mom was actually very musical, and she played piano, and she could sing really well too. And I remember sitting in church one time next to her, but she had a nice low alto voice, and the songs came on, and she was singing, and she couldn't. Most of the church hymns are written in a key that are so high that you can't. For an alto, she couldn't sing the tune, so she just would harmonize. She would sing the alto voice, and I remember listening to her and thinking, she's singing the wrong notes, you know, as a little kid. But then I realized, oh, but they sound good, and so that was an early realization that I could do harmony, and I learned to sing like that. And singing was really a big important part of my life, and one of the things that I could always do with Mom when we'd come and visit is they always had a piano because Dad liked to play piano. And one of the parts of the medley was the Tea for Two, which was one of my dad's songs. He had about 12 songs that he always played. But I remember sitting with my mom. We had these duet books, and we would play piano duets. And we would, you know, it was so fun to just play piano with her. And we didn't ever talk while we were playing, so that was good. We were just happy in our music. And anyway, I just wanted to mention that it gave me a love of music that's made me happy for my whole life. And I really appreciate that.
All right. I am Dusty Haws. I am Brent's son. And normally I feel like a tough guy, but I have a soft spot for my grandma. Over the last couple of days, I've been thinking, what can I share? What's one memory that I have of my sweet grandma? Or one funny experience, but she always kept me laughing and gave me a lifetime of wonderful memories, especially over the last 10 years that I've lived here in Cache Valley. What I remember most is that she was always there, no matter what, no matter if it was up the canyon or in San Diego or it was hot or cold, didn't matter. Grandma was there and always had a smile and always said she was fine. Never complained. When I left on my mission and came back, Grandma was there. On my wedding, Grandma was there. I saw a picture of we had a conga line, and she was at the start of the conga line having a good time at the reception. When I graduated from Utah State, Grandma was there. When each one of my 4 kids was born, Grandma was there. Every birthday, family gathering, Sunday dinner, Grandma was there. Cache Valley won't be the same without her. When we were first married, Holly and I lived in Grandma's basement for 2 years, practically free. And we were part-time working in school still. So she saved us a lot of money and able to buy our first house, thanks to Grandma. But we also really got to know her. It was fun to have picnics on her back porch with her. Mow her lawn for her in both directions in the front. She liked this way and that way to be mowed. The many uses of vinegar. Always had to fix her TV or computer. She'd call me, Dusty, come fix this. And she'd put her hand on my shoulder, say, Dusty, it either works or it doesn't. That was her famous line. Her endless stories of living overseas, most of which I've heard 5 times. The stale baked goods she left on her counter for weeks, she'd always offer to us. When we needed to go up to do laundry, I would just plan to stay up there the entire cycle of laundry because she would just be chatting and talking. And of course, loving to wear her sunglasses even at night. And then one time in the middle of the night, we were sleeping and smelled gas, and I called the fire department. Everyone discovered just to discover that she left the gas stove burner on. I didn't know she cooked even with that, but glad we got that all taken care of. As many people were here, went on that cruise to Alaska. That was a really fun time, as well as she rented a beach house for all of us to go in San Diego, and that was great memories. All had so much fun. As has been mentioned, Grandma can talk to anybody. She'd strike up a conversation. I remember at church one time, someone had mentioned the Philippines just in passing in their talk. And before the closing prayer was over and I could even open my eyes, Grandma had already made a line to the lady to talk to her about the Philippines, that she lived there as well. And then, of course, at Macy's, we'd finish shopping and be walking out, and she'd be talking with all the baggers and checkers. They knew her by name, being so friendly with everyone. I didn't realize that when I saw her a couple weeks ago that was goodbye. But she left a legacy of love over the years and taught me to not be afraid to put yourself out there and live life to the fullest. And that's really what my sweet grandma did.
I'm Connie Haws. I'm daughter-in-law. She's my mother-in-law, my only mother-in-law. And there's one thing about Colleen that I just loved. And I talked to a lot of people through the years, just casual conversations. And if we talked about our mother-in-laws, I always said, Colleen was so wonderful, how she was so kind and welcoming of me into the family. And that was very important to me, because when I met Brent, I wanted to be accepted and welcomed into the family. And I do remember one time, we hadn't gotten married yet. We were driving back from Arizona to San Diego, I think. So it was about a 4-hour drive. And it was one of the first times that I was with her. And we sat in the back seat of that brown Thunderbird. And she talked to me like the whole way. And it made me feel so like important. And I always appreciated that about her. And I was thinking lately about how kind she was to me. And then I was thinking, she always was kind to Sherry, Chris's mom. Sherry was not really in the family because they had been divorced, but I always knew who Sherry was. I always heard of Sherry from Colleen. Colleen would invite her over, and I never even thought twice about it, but that was, an ex. So that was so impressive to me. And then I thought about how she was so good to Irene. She loved Irene. She loved Irene before she even got sick, and she was so good. She was so sad about Irene's illness, and she was really good to Irene. And then when Lynn came along, she was wonderful to Lynn. And so I realized what a great example of a mother-in-law she was. And so I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Hi, my name is Chelsea. Colleen was my grandma. This is Gus. This is Gus. I just wrote down a few kind of funny memories I could think of about grandma and my kids. Gabriel, do you want to come up here? You can come up. This is Gabriel. So fortunately, as my mom and dad had spoken about, we got the opportunity to live in her basement, very close to her. We lived a mile away. We were able to walk there all the time. I remember Emma and I walking multiple times, trying to carry every single toy we could fit in our arms and pushing carts full of toys and falling in puddles. everything just to get to go play at grandma's house. I did a lot of cleaning for grandma. She would pay me $10 an hour to do any cleaning I wanted to do. I remember her joking around, like throwing items away. She loved keeping everything. And I remember joking a broken paper clip, and I was like, Grandma, should I throw this away or should I keep it? And she literally had me keep it. Broken paper clip. She collected remotes. I remember she had a bag full of remote controls to who knows what in the garage, that one day I finally just, like, when she was inside, I went and put in the garbage can, like threw a bunch of stuff on top of it. About a month later, she was like, have you seen like my bag of remotes anywhere? Nope. I dyed my hair red about, I don't know, 5 years ago. And I remember every single time I would see her, she would say, I love what you've done with your hair. Your hair looks so nice. And every single time I could see her 3 times out of the month, and she would say the same thing every single time. I remember going over there many times. I would love to go over on Sundays because I was not allowed to play with friends on Sundays, but I went to grandma's house. Grandma let me play with my friend on Sundays. And the last thing that I found hilarious with my kids that are just talkers, I can't remember, I think it was Gabriel, but we were in the back of my parents' Suburban going somewhere, and they were talking about eating sugar and eating candy. And so grandma immediately turns to them and is like, you know that like eating a lot of sugar, you'll get diabetes. And so my son, being so curious, what's diabetes? And she like explains a little bit to him, and out of nowhere, this one just looks at her, like, could tell you he was totally listening to her diabetes story, and he just says, do you know what a communist is? And she was just like, what? And that was the end.
I'm Emma. I'm Sandy's daughter. I used to be known as baby cousin Emma because I was the youngest of all of the cousins. But I have very sweet memories of spending the summer at grandma's house. I would basically get dropped off there for who knows amount of time, and I would stay and spend the summers with grandma. I wasn't fortunate enough to live in her basement, so I'm very jealous of all the cousins that did get to, because I would have loved to spend that time with her. Just some like offhanded memories that I have there when I was little. Chelsea and I were avid bath takers. My grandma had an insane jacuzzi tub in her bedroom, and so Chelsea and I would always take baths together. We loved spending summers there and probably using one too many bubbles in her jacuzzi, but we loved going to grandma's house. I think it's a running theme of finding expired food in her pantry. That was not an uncommon thing. So she would always take me to Macy's, and we'd get an ice cream cone and walk around and pick out groceries together for my summers there with her. Like Chelsea said, we to earn my keep during the summer, we would clean a lot. And one memory I have is using ketchup on all of her brass pieces around her house, because she collected a lot of trinkets from around the world. So Chelsea and I would smell like ketchup by the end of the day, because vinegar and ketchup, I guess, cleans brass. Chelsea and I were not perfect angels, though. We would sneak out of the basement window and sometimes get up to shenanigans. I don't know if Julie knows this or not. During the summer, we'd sneak out and hang out on the driveway and just look at the stars in grandma's house and play on the grass. And my memories of grandma's house were always so fond, and listening to her self-playing piano. I thought that was so cool that she had a piano that played by herself. I love when people say that I look like my mom, because in some way I look like my grandma. Some things that I have in common with grandma, I feel like as I've gotten older, when you're young, you don't think that you have a lot in common with some of the older generations, but as I grew up, I knew I had a lot in common with her. I love red lipstick just because it reminds me of her, and loud sunglasses. I feel like I find myself picking out the biggest sunglasses just because I know grandma would love them. Sparkly nail polish. I think that was kind of a newer thing for grandma. I pick out the sparkly nail polish now because I know my grandma would take that. I also let food expire in the refrigerator sometimes too. But I do love my grandma and had such fond memories of her and her example, and I love her so much. And thank you to everybody that made this day possible, and to Julie and Sean for loving her, and we love you. Thank you.
Do I ever forgot anything? Since we're going backwards? All right, we'll go ahead and have a closing them. Thank you.
Dear Heavenly Father, we are grateful for this day and for the emotions that we have felt and the memories that we are shared. We're grateful for thy love to give us this woman that has been such an impact in each one of our lives. We're grateful for all the many blessings that Colleen shared with us and all the time that she gave to us and the guidance and love. Please bless us that we might remember
all the lessons that we have been taught, and that we might strive to remember her in our daily lives, and that we might remember that this life is just a short time, and that the plan of salvation is true, and that we will see our family members again, and that all these feelings that we are feeling today are those of love and compassion, that these are things that she would want us to feel for her. And we say these things humbly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Just what we invite the congregation to please rise and ask the pallbearers to come join us. Please.